Anybody else feeling like the passion, the desire, the zest for life just isn't quite there yet? If you're not feeling all the feels, don't worry about it. It might actually be a perfect place for you to be right now. Welcome to the Crazy Ex-Wives Club, a podcast dedicated to helping women navigate the emotional journey that is divorce. I'm your host, Erica, and if you're trying to figure out life after the big D, welcome to the club. Whether you're contemplating divorce or dealing with the aftermath or any of the many phases in between, the club has got you covered. Each week, you'll hear stories from women who have been in your shoes. This isn't about spilling tea on divorce details. This is about giving you the tools to take control of your own healing journey. Listen in weekly for advice, tips, and tools to help you move through each stage of the process. Welcome back to another episode of the Crazy Ex-Wives Club. I'm your host, Erica. So let me know, what did you think about last week's episode? I shared the little sneak peek. I am starting to partner with a new podcast editor. And last week was a new version. There was a new intro, right? If you watch it on video, there were some new graphics kind of floating around. Did you like it? Did you love it? Did it get you more excited to hear about what the guest was going to talk about? I mean, I don't know about you, but change can be a little scary at times. Shifting processes or structure or how you're working on something, a lot of times we can resist it. I'm super guilty of this. I resist it far longer than I should. I kind of hold onto the reins. I still try and control things until I turn it over. Another thing, if you watch this video based, so Spotify should be video based, YouTube is video based, Apple is moving into video based, and I will figure that out once I have a second to look into it. But if you're watching on the videos, you probably are noticing we're wearing the same sweaters. I kind of show up the same week. Anybody else just really ready to move into spring? Like you're just ready. We're in what I call the death rattle. So it gets warm. We'll have 80 degrees and the next day we'll have 29 degrees and then we'll have 70 degrees and we'll have 30 degrees. And so it is this, we made it through and the birds are singing and the sun is out and you feel amazing and it's warm. And then the crash the next day when it is so cold and you hear the heater kick back on. And it really takes a toll on your emotions. It takes a toll on that momentum that's building. We're so excited. We're moving into spring. Things are shifting. Things are moving forward. And then boom. And it feels like you're knocked on your ass again. When I sat down today to think about what did I really want to talk about, what came out of my mouth was, I don't have a clear, exact topic that I'm so wound up and want to talk about today. And as it came out of my mouth, I realized that is the perfect topic. Because sometimes we just don't feel passionate about something, but it typically is not the thing. I love recording my episodes. I love hearing your feedback. I love finding topics that really help you move the marker on where you're at in your journey. I'm grateful for this opportunity every single week to sit here with you and to explore pieces that you can take and make your own and change your life for the better. So it's not that I'm not passionate about the topic, but I couldn't find the passion in my body and in my mind today. And why is that? Well, because a lot of times what happens is lifes us, or things get busy, or we run a little bit too hot and heavy and we drain our tanks. And when we drain our tanks, it is harder for us to move into some of those high vibe, big energy feelings, not because we don't feel them, but because we're lacking the fuel to be able to get there. So if you're sitting in a place where you too just do not feel passionate about anything, maybe you don't feel passionate about trying to plan a summer vacation or figure out what's next in this next season for you. Your passion isn't missing. It's buried under the mental load. It's buried under emotional exhaustion of rebuilding. And of course, you cannot and don't feel passionate when you're still battling through a little bit of nervous system dysregulation. I know you think something is wrong with you. In fact, even when I was looking at having to sit down and record this episode, there was that internal chatter of, you better get it together. You better find a topic. Oh, it's going to be so much harder if you don't find a clear topic. But all of that, all of those stories that run in our mind are examples of your nervous system being dysregulated. Because I know that that's not true. I know that in the moment you can line up and tune in and great things are able to come forward. when we remove the doubt, when we remove the insecurity, and when we give ourselves grace to be exactly where we are. There's nothing wrong with you because you used to really passionately care about something and now you feel flat or numb or you just can't tune into it. You're going through the motions and you wonder where all of the joy went. Don't look at this like a phase or a problem that you have to solve. It's data. It's information. Your system is protecting you from something. So you're not broken, you're recalibrating. But here's what it meant for me. When I sat down and I started to brainstorm, what did I want to talk about? I kind of go through some notes. I go through if there are requests that you guys have sent in, which is why I always pop over on stories, Instagram, send me a message. You can drop topics in on the website. It is amazing when we get to collaborate together. When you say, Erica, this thing is hard this week, and I say, oh my gosh, I got you. And so I sit down and I kind of go through some of those messages. I go through what am I dealing with right now? Because I know that what I'm dealing with, like when we talked about functional freeze a couple weeks ago, that episode resonated with so many women that I know that we are all sitting in the same spot of just trying to figure out life. So I look at what I'm going through. I look at what am I really pissed off about? What soapbox am I on this week? And as I look through all these things, there just was nothing that jumped out at me. There was nothing that said, oops, this is the thing. And I had to ask myself, why? Why do you not feel excited to be back in the studio to be recording your next episode? And the reality is there's a lot on the plate right now. So many things to get done. So many pieces of the puzzle to fit in. There's a lot of really good things changing right now. Some big things moved last week, which means that my mind, body, spirit, systems, family are leveling up, expanding to the next level. We also had the stepkids all weekend. So we had the 3 extra boys here this weekend, which creates a different shift in energy. So instead of hopping on, instead of hitting record, instead of saying, Erica, you better figure this out. Erica, you better get something in there. I took a step back and I said, yeah, that's a lot and it doesn't last forever. So when we get stuck and when we feel flat or numb, we often start pushing to figure out a solution faster. We got to get out. We got to get out of these feels. We got to figure it out. And often what we need is permission to say, it's okay to be exactly where we're at. And the moment I took a deep breath, because again, breath is the only conscious way we have to activate our parasympathetic nervous system, to calm our nervous system. So I took that big breath and I said, okay, it's not the first time you've been here. It won't be the last. And you know you can figure it out when you get out of your own way. Then I started taking little steps that felt good. I grabbed my leftover Starbucks from yesterday. I made a cup of tea. I went for a walk. I bounced on my rebounder, my little trampoline, for 10 minutes with some music on. I did things to knock the numbness out, to say, meh, that's not real. That's just kind of like hanging on me. It's all over the place. How do we get rid of it? So that then I could sit down in a fresh space with a fresh perspective and start recording. So often we just continue to force. And the fastest way to move forward is to pause. It feels counterintuitive. It feels like it's going to take you longer if you take a step back, if you stop trying to action things. But when we action things from a place of misalignment, we make them messier, we make them harder, and they take longer. So when you're still healing, when you're still figuring out how to process the things that happen to you, how to accept where you're at, and how to feel safe to daydream about a future that could be really good, passion or excitement can feel a little bit forced. And it's not because it's not in there, but it's because our body is protecting us from disappointment again. Our body is saying, whoa, hold on. We need to walk before we run. And are you sure that you want to risk this again? And is it even safe to desire something to be different after we know that not everything always works out? But there is a difference between manufactured passion and natural curiosity. So in the example I gave you, I didn't push to try and manufacture an excitement or a passion around a topic. And don't get me wrong, I have done that a lot of weeks. In fact, there are probably 50 episodes that are recorded that they will never see the light of day because they start strong and then they fizzle and they ramble and they don't lead you anywhere. And that's manufactured passion. Whoosh comes in and yes, we're going. And then it just dribbles out. It runs out because it's not sustainable passion. It's not coming from a place of alignment. So the first step is shifting into a state of natural curiosity. Don't try and force the passion. Don't try and force the action. Open up to, why am I feeling this way? What else is going on in my life that might be numbing me out? What is my body or my nervous system trying to protect me from? When you get curious about why you feel the way you feel, you start to get to the root of the problem. And when we get to the root of the problem, then we can fix it. Then we can shift it. So the first step is always, okay, I don't feel like me. Why? I love a good ponder. In fact, I laugh. The new dog, Maze, the puppy, he is a ponderer. He just sits there and watches and thinks and observes and reflects, and then he takes action. So when we open up that curiosity, like I did this morning, so why are you stuck on this? Why are you not feeling excited to go in there and record? Natural curiosity. I got to the pieces. Yeah, this weekend, there was a lot this weekend. But instead of letting a story run in my subconscious, you had the boys. It was a lot. You didn't get to do the things you normally get to do. I looked at the weekend. I got real clear and I was like, actually, the weekend went really well. The boys and the puppy played really well. Everything flowed. Everybody slept in. Everybody went to bed at a good time. All the dinners, we didn't have any big meltdowns over like, oh, I don't like this food. I don't know what else to eat, right? Everything was relatively easy. So I could stop that subconscious story and say, nope, I'm going to choose to focus my thoughts somewhere else. Okay, what was the next piece? Well, I feel like there's a lot of to-do things on my task list for this Monday. There's some emails I want to send. There's a walk. There's some fitness things. There's an episode I want to record. There's editing, right? The list starts going. Okay, hold on. What order do I want to get them done in? Can I write them out on my planner so that I have a task list that I can get it out of my mind and onto my paper so that I can free up my mental capacity to move into being excited? Tiny sparks start to shift the energy, not a big fire. I didn't need to sit down and have a huge download on every single piece of the episode or where I wanted it to go. I needed to have tiny sparks, key moments that I knew were really important to bring up, because when you hit one, that fuels the next, which fuels the next. Momentum, right? Like attracts like. When we find a tiny spark, like my leftover Starbucks, that got me really excited to now get down and start to brainstorm out what the pieces were I wanted and finding some of those key topics, right? Looking at what did I want to weave in? Where did I want to grow and expand? That builds the fire, builds the excitement. If you're uncertain how to find your first tiny spark, I would have you sit with your eyes closed. Place 2 hands on top of your heart, breathing in through your nose, out through your mouth. 5 breaths, breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth, bringing yourself to the present moment. Yes, there's a whole task list running. Yes, there's a lot of things that need to get done. Yes, there's a lot out there. But now, in this very moment, I am here, I am present, I am one with myself. Breathing in through your nose, out through your mouth. And then ask yourself, what is one small thing I can do next that would help me feel better? Not how can I avoid, not how can I feel overwhelmed, not how can I continue to let unhelpful thought patterns run in the background. Tuning into your heart and really asking your heart, your inner knowing, what do I need? Because passion shows up when you are aligned with your true self. And we've all had those moments, days, months, years, where your energy seems never ending. You might be physically exhausted, and yet you are so excited for the next thing that is coming, because passion has very little to do with how much sleep we got, but more to do with, are we aligned? Now, are we aligned can most definitely be impacted by sleep. It's highly impacted by sleep for me. Sleep, food, so like rest, recovery, movement, social time, all of those are tools that help me stay in alignment. So when I'm in alignment with my true self, I have oodles of energy. In fact, even this weekend, I was a little bit tired to start the weekend. So I was a little bit nervous on how the weekend would go, knowing that usually these are our big weekends when we have all the boys. And instead of stepping into that story, I stepped into how good it feels to be productive. And I got really excited about ticking things off my to-do list. I got really excited about how quickly things were falling into place. And all of a sudden, I kept going and getting more things done and more things done. And then I slept really well that night and I woke up feeling really rested. And it was because I was in alignment with my heart, with my desires. But when we get a big old knock from divorce or a new life pivot or whatever stress is going on in your life, we need to start with a tiny spark and rebuild and allow that momentum to carry us. Allow it to pick up gradually, then suddenly. Because when we're in a space of depletion and when we're in a space of misalignment, I'm not aligned with who I want to be. Maybe my feels are still feeling hard. Maybe I am still sitting in the uncertainty. Again, it's not about having all of those things cleared and fixed and out of the way. It's about having tiny spark in all of those areas. But it's why when women in transition are given the advice to go find your passion, like it's something that we can just turn around and pick up off a shelf, it's a little bit toxic for us. It's not helpful because it makes us feel like something is wrong with us. Well, how come I can't find my passion? Remember when I was first separated and all of a sudden I did have more free time and now I'm trying to rebuild and figure out who I am. Everybody just said, well, just go do the things that you're passionate about. And I was trying to meet people. I was trying to find more friends because, any of the couple friends were gone. Co-workers, we didn't really hang out outside of work and I was lonely. I wanted other women friends. That advice to follow my passion was a little bit offensive because one, I didn't really know what I was super passionate about. Two, starting over in your mid-30s or later is a little different than finding your passion when you're in college and with a bunch of people and new classes all the time and new activities. And three, it just put a lot of pressure on me to figure out why don't you feel happy about things? Why are you so in your feels all the time? Why is everything so difficult? I mean, a lot of the things that I love doing were all solo activities because the things that I had built in my life were things that I did on my own to decompress. But now that I wanted to be social, I was really left without a roadmap on how to figure out where I wanted to go. I wanted to find other women who understood. I wanted to find people that I could talk to without having them jump down a train of advice that I didn't find helpful. Passion is rebuilt one tiny step at a time. Passion is something that grows the more you become in alignment with your truth. And passion is something that we all have, even if you're sitting in a space of feeling numb or flat. And if you are, I'm going to challenge you. Are you overwhelmed? Are you out of alignment with who you are? Are you trying to handle too many things? Then you need to say no to some things. You need to say no probably to at least 50% of the things that are still on your plate. And it can feel hard. And it can feel scary to let them go. It's not about letting them go forever. It's about saying, in this season, I need a break and I need something else because the fire that's inside of you, the passion, it's threatening to be put out. And we can't suffocate it with more work and more avoidance and more busyness. We need to fuel it with getting curious, with understanding what fills you up. What helps you feel more alive? Who do you want to be? What do you want to bring into this next chapter? So next time you're sitting in a place and you're looking at your house, maybe you're looking across the room and you're like, oh, there's a lot of cleaning that needs to get done today. And I just don't feel like I want to do it. I cannot get excited about it. Put on some music. Find one small thing that you can pick up. Open the windows, right? Get the light going in the room. Shift the energy. Get up, bounce around, jump, dance, sing. Whatever it is, I mean, personally, put on Little Mermaid or Beauty and the Beast movie and sing your heart out while you clean your living room. Game changer, you guys. Game changer. It brings that passion in and all of a sudden you have a beautiful, clean house and it feels so good. And you feel that fire rising again because you are in more alignment with who you want to be. And you find this energy to now go tackle the next project or figure out the next uncertainty or the next question in your life. So feeling a lack of passion is not necessarily a problem. It's an opportunity for you to get curious and to understand, why don't I feel excited about what I've built in my life right now? And what do I need to bring the excitement back in. If you are struggling to figure out what you need in your life, if you are stuck in that lacking passion and you feel like you are never going to get out, I have 2 solutions for you. 1, check out the blueprint. The blueprint is on demand. You get 2 free months of the club with it as of right now, and it will guide you through defining, who do you want to be? Who do you want to be? What lights you up? What fills your bucket? And what do you need to say no to so that you can live a life that is in alignment? Or look at one-on-one coaching, because sometimes what happens is that those experiences are so stuck in our physical self, right? The body keeps the score. Fantastic book if you haven't read it, but much like a textbook. So our body is holding on to all of those emotions, the ones that we were unable to process in the moment, the ones that we just don't want to deal with, the ones that feel too scary to handle on our own. And when those are all around us, we have a very hard time finding alignment, finding purpose, finding passion, finding joy. That's the one-on-one work to really dive deep into the subconscious, into the somatics, into the body work, into moving it out. So Unfuckwithable in 30 days will get you from feeling numb to feeling alive and passionate again, because we're going to clear the stuff that's stuck. The blueprint or Unfuckwithable, you guys, both of those links are down below in the show notes. You can also learn more about them at thecrazyexwivesclub.com. If you are curious about either one, I do always offer a free 15-minute divorce discovery call, because I get it. We feel stuck. We feel lost. And what I needed most was a real human to talk to, not another thing to buy, not another funnel to be led down, not another reel to watch. I just needed to talk to somebody for about 15 minutes, have somebody who understood, who had been through it before, to say, here's some resources for you. Again, all of those links, you guys, are down in the show notes. Until next week, stay curious. If you're lacking the passion, if you're lacking what's out there, what do you need to fill your bucket? When I finish recording this, I'm going to go for another little walk. I'm going to jump around. I'm going to put some good music on, because as I'm feeling the energy rise from recording and from spending this time with you, I'm going to fuel it even more. I will talk to you next week. We'll be back with another episode. If you have a topic you want me to cover, pop over to Instagram, send me a message. I'd love to talk. And that's it. Another great episode of the Crazy Ex-Wives Club, a podcast for women learning how to heal from their divorce. Tune in next week for more advice and tips to help you figure out life after divorce. And until then, give yourself grace, do the best you can, and know that this is all part of the process.